So the first time I heard extreme vocals in music, it was Slayer. Late at night on Much Music up in Canada, way past my bedtime. I think I was about 12 years old maybe, and to be honest, I half loved it and it half really scared me because you look at Tom Araya, the guy's a madman. The guy looks crazy. But I think it was Angel of Death by Slayer. Pretty wild stuff. I'd heard about a few other bands, metal bands like Metallica and Megadeth even, and maybe even Pantera at that point, but Slayer for some reason really kicked it up a notch. And later on when I bought the Rain and Blood album, it's one of the records that changed my life, to be quite honest. The first time I ever attempted any kind of screaming, growling, yelling was actually, sadly, was in front of people. I was at Warped Tour in 1997 or 1998, and I entered a punk rock trivia contest, which I won, by the way. But one of the questions was for me to impersonate a crazy hardcore metal singer. And oof, big oof on that one. The first band I ever screamed in was this band right here, my band Silverstein. And it's a kind of a funny story. I didn't think after the whole debacle at Warped Tour that I could ever scream, but I know the guys wanted me to try. And the first EP had a little bit of yelling, nothing really too screamy. And then we wrote a song called The Last Days of Summer. And there's a part where it goes, da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na. And this big scream comes in. So I knew this was something I was going to work on. I was limbering up for it. And I did it. And the funny part about it was we actually were recording it at the time on just an old, boombox. But that recording of my first ever real scream does exist somewhere on a cassette tape up here in Canada. I don't know who has it. So when I was getting started, when I was cutting my teeth with screaming, I really wanted to make sure that nobody heard the sounds coming out of my mouth because they were terrible. I was trying new things, the lows, the highs, the mids, and the walls are thin everywhere. I didn't want to just close my bedroom door. I was living with my parents at the time. I gotta say, my parents have always been super supportive. They're awesome. Love you, Mom and Dad. And they've always been supportive of all my musical endeavors. My mom was super down with heavy stuff. My dad, any music after 1969 is garbage. He prefers music like At the Hop. Let's go to the hop. Let's go to the hop, oh baby. That's his jam, so he's really, really not a metal fan. But they were not very pleased when I started doing the screaming thing, as they called it. And I think their main concern was that I was gonna wreck my beautiful singing voice. And I'll be honest, I had some concerns about that too at first, that maybe my singing voice would never be the same after doing this screaming. What I used to do is I used to get in my mom's car, drive off into the middle of a field somewhere, and practice that way. And I'd bring a little recorder and I'd record the stuff in my mom's car, and a couple times I had maybe not gone as far away as I should. One time police asked me what I was doing. Don't mind me, cop, I'm just in my car screaming my head off. Completely normal, nothing to see here. Go about your evening, officer. Oh, my throat hurt so bad when we were starting. I mean, I would do 5 screams in a practice, and then I'd be like this, hey guys, I'm the fucking front man. No, it hurt, and there were times when I didn't think it was gonna be possible for us to go on tour and do, a week of shows without me losing my voice, but over time, I figured it out, and I can do it now. The vocalists I admired the most, I got one on my shirt right here, Buried Alive, Scott Vogel. He's also in the band Terror. A lot of people know him from that band. But Buried Alive, my favorite hardcore band of all time. There's a reason I'm wearing this shirt. I saw this band play a local show in my town when I was in high school, and right away, the energy of it, just the power that Scott Vogel had. Doing those vocals, it really did change me. I'd never heard somebody do it in a way like that. I guess that's more hardcore singing than metal singing. But to this day, Buried Alive's album, that's it for me. That's my favorite hardcore record, and that's somebody I really do continue to look up to. So you want to talk about cupping the mic right here. I mean, you know, I've been known to cup a little bit. Just a little bit. I just cupped it. You get the hand over, and if you get it in there, you get a little more volume. What you got to worry about though is feedback can be bad, and it can just make everything sound like this. So I'd say you can do a little bit of cupping, but don't cup all the way. Just a little bit over the top is okay. But some people do cup the mic. It's not that bad. There's so many different types of screams out there. The high shrieks, the pig squeals, all that stuff. I've always just stuck to kind of what comes out of my voice naturally. I always have trouble explaining to people. You know, I think it starts with breathing. That's important. But when you're talking about doing all that stuff, some of it's super unnatural for me, and I find it all pretty difficult. So I just scream my head off. I hope for the best, and so far so good. Now, we can talk about all the stuff you need to do to prepare your voice for the onslaught it's about to face at a show. Some people use the teas, the honeys, the throat sprays, and believe me, I've tried them all. But for me, just some good old-fashioned water, and lots of it is all I need to lube up these babies right here. I will say, I think honey maybe does have some magical healing properties, considering it never goes bad. So if bacteria can't do anything to it, hey, maybe it actually does something to the bacteria in your throat. So I might believe in that one, but I think a lot of it is mental, and that's okay. If it helps, it helps. But for me, you gotta just stay hydrated, and I drink an insane amount of water. Insane amount. And watch out with the throat sprays, because they can numb your voice, and you could be doing a lot of damage and not realize it because you're feeling it. I did that in the beginning to get through some shows, and no bueno. As for on tour, the things that I avoid, not that many. I should avoid more things probably. I tend to partake. However, the one thing you need to do as a singer is you gotta make sure you're getting tons of sleep. And I'm always the last one to wake up in the morning. I gotta make sure I sleep in. I get at least 8 hours of sleep personally. And that's it. That's it. Some people, you know, they don't have dairy. Some people don't eat spicy food. Some people don't drink alcohol, don't smoke. And hey, whatever works for you. For me, good old-fashioned 8 hours, and I'm back, and I'm ready, and I'm at 'em. So the way I pace myself for a show, the first thing I do is I ask the opening act how hot it is on stage. A very important question. If it's really hot, you're gonna have to pace yourself a little bit, okay? You can't go too hard right away. You gotta make sure you're not gonna be completely out of breath after song 2, because the rest of the show is gonna be a complete uphill battle. So, you know, take it easy, drink some water, you know, maybe try to put in a little bit more talking breaks here and there, or some bands will use samples. They'll run that to give the singer a little bit of a breather. I wish it was the 80s and we were still, you know, doing guitar solos and bass solos and drum solos, and I could go off stage for 20 minutes. Oh, that would be good. But sadly, that's, I think, fallen a little out of fashion, but I wish it would come back. Bring it back. Bring back the 15-minute guitar solos. Can we please do that?